Welcome back to the channel, guys, and today I've made a return down to Ingarsby Tunnel. Now you might remember I did venture this tunnel at the start of the year in January. Now when I ventured Ingarsby Tunnel in January, I decided to come down after I'd failed to get into Morcock Tunnel, which was only 15 minutes away, and just have a quick look at the tunnel. So I had a quick venture inside just to see what it was like. Now at the time I had a different torch, so I thought I'd come back and just get a different view of the tunnel with extra lighting, also to see the aqueduct, which I didn't get to see as I was short in time last time I came. The aqueduct and the tunnel that we're going to explore was on a line named the Tilton and Leicester branch, which branched off the Midland Railway. The tunnel ran under Covert Lane, which you can just see at the top left, known as Square Spinney Tunnel also, and Thurmby Tunnel, with Thurmby Railway Station to the west. In today's Explore, we're going to be taking a look at the condition of the aqueduct and a return into the tunnel to have a look at the condition. You can just see to the left of the tunnel, just down here, the aqueduct on the map. And as the tunnel runs under Covert Lane, we'll also be taking a look at the first air shaft. So somewhere beyond that vegetation you've got the Thurmby station. And you've got all this vegetation right here. And we just came to have a little look at this aqueduct, which just lays abandoned in the middle of the woods. So you've got the actual aqueduct that's built out of iron, which was used as like a drainage channel, which is no longer being in use now. It's literally just laid here abandoned, and you've got these brick supports. So let's just have a little look. A bit of graffiti and some things growing on them. So just a nice little piece of infrastructure that we've found. So you've got the Ingarsby Tunnel that way, and this nice looking aqueduct, which will probably be still here in years to come. So if you just take a look up there, you can just see the damage to the aqueduct. You can see it's falling through, so I don't think this will be ever used as an aqueduct again for its purpose. You can see how it's rusting and it's falling apart. There's a little bit more damage just under there. And a little look at the brick supports. So just take a little walk up onto the cutting and get a little closer look. It's not easy to get up. We actually went up the other side before. But let's have a look at from this way. Whoa. And you can just see how the channel ran right down here. You can see the wall. And that would have channeled down there. So we had a look on the other side. Absolutely brilliant. Aqueduct back there, and just taking a little walk towards the Ingarsby Tunnel, which was also known as Square Spinney Tunnel and Thurmby Tunnel. So we're in the middle of a cutting,
that approaches the southwest entrance. And beyond the tunnel is actually infilled by the owner of the land, and beyond there is the Ingarsby Viaduct and what was also the Ingarsby railway station. So literally just in the middle of an abandoned wood cutting. So you've got the southwest entrance, the portal, which has got this nice looking metal sheet, but it's also got a nice little gap that you can enter the tunnel. Now, it seems to have been like this for a very long time, because there is a picture of this tunnel that was open in like the early 90s. I think it was 1991. I'm not sure when this was put up, but it was accessible, even though it still is accessible here. So I came just earlier this year, but with an extra torch and a more expensive one. Let's see what condition this tunnel's in compared to less than a year ago. So with better lighting and hopefully some better pictures, we can see the decay in the portal at the bottom, just there. Now, I believed at the time it was due to vandalism, but I think that's just due to decay over time. And as you enter the tunnel, there's a lot of, you can tell people have been in here. And there's absolutely masses of graffiti. Now, the tunnel is backfilled at the northern entrance. Just here you've got this Tesco trolley. The other half of it's actually outside, which I didn't point out. I think it's built out of red brick. So yeah, it's built with a curve, and it is backfilled by a farmer at the other side, I think, or whoever owns the land. The tunnel actually does lead on towards the Ingarsby Viaduct and the railway station. You can just see a little distance there. You can see the light of the shaft, which we actually walked past when we came down the cutting. And you got some refuges here, which seem to kind of push right back into the to where it's been excavated. And here you've got this heap of spoil. Now, I don't think that was there last time I came. I can't remember. It is quite full of refuges, this tunnel, and there is a couple of shafts, but you can only see one. And there's a look back at the portal. That's the southwest portal, just there. You can see just how the tunnel does curve with extra light. And it is in quite good condition, this tunnel. There's not major collapses, there's not major movement in this tunnel, not that we've seen anyway. And due to the infill, it's going to sound quite eerie. It's pretty silent, pin drop silence in here. So the tunnel runs over Culvert Lane, the village of Ingarsby. Got some more graffiti just on the left here, and another refuge, which they're not fairly tall. You can see how they concave in. Another refuge there on the left. And it looks like we're approaching the shaft, because you can just see the light where the shaft is. Now, this tunnel is not very deep. Now, you get a lot of tunnels that are like 100, 200 feet deep underground, whereas this, you'll see when we see the shaft, it's probably only about 40, 50 feet underground. Now the tunnel is 516 yards, which I think is 492 metres, and it was actually opened by the Great Northern Railway in around 1882, and it closed, I think, in around the 1960s. I think it was 1962. Another refuge. And we've got a lot of brackets on here, so they actually go all the way down the tunnel. You can just see them here. Literally go all the way down the tunnel. And I believe it was for cabling. It really does. You have a look here. There's some there. Literally goes all the way down. There's one goes over this refuge. I'm just doing a little deeper look in how these refuges can cave in. They're quite different looking to ones that I've seen in other tunnels. And as we head here, we approach the tunnel shaft. You can just see the light there. We've got a nice wide looking refuge here. And here's our shaft again. You can see it's not very deep. Sorry about the glare, but like other tunnel shafts I've seen, like example Clayton Tunnel and Lydgate and Barnsdale, these are quite shallow, so this tunnel's probably only about 40-50 feet underground. See a nice little change in the brick at the bottom of the shaft, but there's a lot of glare. So let's head on. A lot more graffiti as we head further down. So just beyond that shaft, and you could just see the curve to the left there. There's a lot more of those cable brackets that head down the left here. And it's pretty dry throughout the tunnel, and towards the end it does get a little more damp and it becomes quite clear. Got another refuge here. A few relics on the floor there. Looks like you've got a bolt pin, I think, and you've got one of the cast iron brackets. There's a lot of ballast, and we're just heading towards that infill. And you can just see another refuge here, and more graffiti. And we're coming up to the infill. Now Johnny's torch is, he's got the better torch, but his has run out, so he's had to use a less, I'd say brighter torch. So I apologise if the lighting gets a bit worse. And we've just approached the end of where the tunnel is being infilled, which I think's probably got another third of the tunnel to go after the infill. We'll take you for a closer look. You have to be very careful because it's quite sticky in here, and I've already got stuck today once at another tunnel, so just be very careful. You can see all the clay. There's a lot of footprints, so you can tell people have been here. Oh, nearly went then. And you can even see somebody's lost a shoe. But yeah, I think the tunnel has been infilled by the owner on the other side. And you can just see a bit of calcite deposits there, which there's not much of that in here, but you can see a little bit there. So I call it natural art. Now, I'm not going to climb up there because it looks very sticky, so what we're going to do now is we're going to head back out, and I'm going to give you a little walk through of the tunnel and the condition that it's in. Just another little look at the portal before we go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head back up the cutting and just have a little look at that air shaft before we go. And there's just a little shot of the portal from above the cutting. You can see the nice red brick. It's just a shame that sheet's over it, it would look better. Nice old school piece of engineering. So this is the first shaft as you're coming from the southwest entrance. Now there was 2 shafts. This is just one of them, and I'm not sure if the other one remains. We're not going to be going to it because we think it may be on somebody's land, and we haven't got time anyway. But this is the shaft, so the one that we were looking up is just here. So it's not a very deep one, as we saw in the tunnel. Just give you a little walk around.